Okay, so, session review, I got rid of it. Maybe we'll find some kind of other way to start off at least. But yes, we're back once again. So, after a month-long hiatus, we had a session. We had some fun stuff come up. So, it's going to be time to go through it again. So, don't want to make this one as long. So, we're just going to be, diving right into it. All right. So, what happened? We ended off day one. Day one was the first day of the hunters or the captain's meeting. It pretty much ended. After all of it, Inu stated that he was going to meet up with Brahm and maybe Asta for some sprawling or for some sparring. Diogen flirted with Allura, which didn't at all look like it was going to end well. Inu then goes up to the Wizard King. He has two conversations because he's very talkative, to say the least, and says, "Hey, is there a way that we could try to propose that we become the A team and that we are, expressed to the public as like a beacon of hope for everyone?" So it's a very interesting idea. They say they're going to talk about it later, but besides that, this all happens just as we're trying to, just process out of the meeting. I think there's a lot of pent up energy from a month of no D&D, so a lot of people want to have conversations right now. They don't want to wait, which is perfectly fine. And then after this, Solus met up with everyone, and he brought them to their quarters. So the team has their own nice little quarters here. Obviously, wonderful and esteemed guests have their own place to live. It's a very lavish area, very nice. It's not as nice. Inu and Diogen, it's not as nice as place they've been, but this is extremely nice for Cruel Wrench and Bunny that have never seen things like this. And they also have two separate rooms where they sleep. So there's two bunk beds in each room. So the team needs to find out their bunk bed or their, roommate situation, which is first, said, why don't we just all have rooms? But, it's, the camaraderie of the team should be, nice. So I thought it'd be interesting to add some bunk beds. Bunny and Inu end up having bunk beds, and Diogen and Cruel Wrench have bunk beds. Bunny and Inu go their separate way. Inu starts to write some haikus, and Bunny takes a bath. But Cruel Wrench and Diogen immediately start to do multiple substances and start a party of debauchery, as you would expect they would, essentially. And, this goes on for some time. And eventually they run out and try to find their teammates to talk to them. And the Wizard King enters into the room after all of this. He lets Solus leave, and he says essentially hi to the team, and sees that Diogen and Cruel Wrench are being quite wild individuals. After this, I remember that I did add it here, but Diogen leaves the room on his own. He is under the influence of many substances and decides to just run out and tries to find Heimerdinger on his own, which is a stupid idea. It leads to nothing, but he wants to do that, so he does that. And Inu talks more to the Wizard King about this idea of becoming the team A team, and he says that he wants to have them defeat Vicus and Riften to act as proof that they're actually the A team, actually a powerful symbol of hope, and then to have like some kind of big parade where they can be announced as the A team. Diogen left because he was trying to find Heimerdinger because he wants fireworks to be made for it, which is silly, but whatever. After this, we get to the dinner. So the Wizard King then brings them all to the dinner with the captains. We have many tables with many options where everyone wants to go. Inu and Bunny decide to go to the table that has all of the captains. So they're able to go there and have a conversation, kind of debrief after the day. Inu kind of walks down and kind of greets himself to everyone, and eventually gets pinned by Allura, who is explaining how she doesn't really approve of Cruel Wrench, and Inu kind of states how he also doesn't really approve of Cruel Wrench, and hopefully they can meet soon, or meet, later that day to have more of a conversation about this. Bunny just kind of explains how they are kind of taken back. They once were a 13-year-old that had to deal with like death of their whole family, and now they're here with their god Toby helping them, and they hope to learn more from Toby and grow more with them, which Allura also states they might be able to help them, help Bunny with that as well. And then also Master Yo says he wants to talk to Inu at some point in the future. Inu is going to have many conversations. Anyone that wants to have a conversation can have them. But Inu is cooking up many individual yap sessions. So feel free to always do that. So we have some side conversations. Top table, we have Cruel Wrench go sit with Asta and Luffy. Cruel Wrench essentially just kind of yaps with them, sees what they're on about. Luffy talks about how he's the pirate captain. He has the power to make all of his body parts rubbery, as it's essentially a Nen curse that was placed on him where he can't, control this power, but he uses it to, affect him. And Cruel Wrench and him bond over the fact that both of their Nen abilities have to do this kind of gum property. And then after that, Luffy also states that there's a big problem in the water about a pirate they cannot find, and they hope that after the team learns more about, the control of Nen, they might be able to help them find this pirate, as him and his team don't exactly have the abilities they need to hunt down this weird pirate problem where people are disappearing. And then Asta explains as well that he, had such a bad thing happen to him. He has his arm is now black with a huge black sword, and it's some kind of demonic energy that's inside of him that he really doesn't like. So he kind of doesn't want to sign a contract with PepsiCo. Luffy kind of does when Cruel Wrench brings it up, but Asta, no real questions are asked of Asta. So that's more or less where that conversation ends. And on the bottom right, Diogen talks to Heimerdinger, Merlin, and Zen Li. The major things we have are the Diogen. It says so much to Heimerdinger that he has to make a really nice, cool firework with a new color in it that Diogen's never seen. Heimerdinger's confused, but says whatever. Zen Li talks to Diogen about how he is technically not a part of the Hunter organization. He is more the combat master of the Wisdom Isle, so he lives there and he was invited to come here to help give any updates on the Wisdom Isle, and hopes that maybe his team could come and help them at some point. And Merlin, after Diogen says some silly things, urges him to not try to romantically go after Elora, as it will not end well. So that is where that table ends. Then we get to a pretty interesting part. Okay, now we get some actual lore. So Cruel Wrench decides to ask, so, Wizard King, is it true that we stole the Neuron Star from the Heart Kingdom? So the Wizard King's like, okay, that's a big question. So the Wizard King requests everyone to join him. So they all go back to the room and they have a conversation where the Wizard King explains that 200 years ago, well, more accurately, 500 years ago. Okay, just come with me here, real quick. 500 years ago, a Neuron Star landed on the planet, and it landed in the Heart Kingdom. So this Neuron Star that landed in the Heart Kingdom was not immediately recognized when it fell, but Nen started to, flow through the land, and people started to understand Nen and be able to utilize it more, as a Neuron Star brings greater Nen energy to the planet with it. So, around 250 years ago, the leader of the Heart Kingdom, Draven, found the Neuron Star and in secrecy used it, and then started a war by declaring that Draven, who is now named Draven the Dominator, is going to rule all four kingdoms. Doesn't really state if they're going to still be called four kingdoms. And essentially states, with the power he has gained from the Neuron Star, he is going to become the one ruler of the entire world, and everyone will be subjugated to him. And he will use the power of the Neuron Star to make the world a better place. Essentially what he says. So, he then immediately starts war. He invades the Diamond Kingdom, which is kind of an area more known for large beasts, but it had some, as we would call humanoid life forms on it. Mainly known for large beasts. He essentially just killed all the people there. They did refuse to join him, so he just murdered them as they were. And he subjugated the beasts and added them to his ranks to help him in the fight. After this, he has his sights set on the Clover Kingdom. He decides to kind of just do a full loop around, especially concerning the fact that the Spade Kingdom is pretty normally not too combat focused, so it wouldn't be too hard to get them to surrender. So he goes to the Clover Kingdom, at which point the Wizard King and his strongest allies meet at Zenthar's Peak. They have a very long battle, and the Wizard King eventually defeats the Neuron Star, or defeats Draven, and takes the Neuron Star for the Clover Kingdom. He restores balance to the world through this, and that is essentially where we are from that. Now, be it as you may, say whichever way you want. Do you think that the Wizard King stole the Neuron Star? Well, Draven was theoretically going to abuse it and rule the world with it, but did he steal it? It's, I mean, he took it from them. It landed in the Heart Kingdom. Was it theirs when it landed in the Heart Kingdom, or should it kind of be shared between the world, which is essentially what the Wizard King has tried to do since then? But nonetheless, there is now the cult of the Stolen Star, which believes that the Wizard King stole the star and now are attempting to get it back from him. And they're trying to get one of their own to make up for it so they can at least have an equal amount of power as the Wizard King. After this, the question obviously would probably occur to you as well. Where is the Neuron Star? If we took it, where is it? So the Wizard King says, I will bring you to it right now. They go down this large elevator where they eventually see Hisoka at the bottom, and the Wizard King explains that, Cruel Wrench, you are actually not allowed into the area with the Neuron Star. You must have to stay with Hisoka, but I assure you there's a nice viewing area. Cruel Wrench makes his way out. The rest of the team leaves their weapons, and they follow the Wizard King into this very large, essentially enclosed room with a pyramid in it, as seen in this image. So there's a large pathway up to the top of the pyramid, on which point there is a tomb on it, and the Wizard King, says everyone should follow them, and Cruel Wrench from upside this area essentially watches as they walk up to the top of the pyramid. The Wizard King places his hand on the tomb. You would then watch as all of the clover insignias on the tomb glow up with a, bright light, and the Wizard King then, dematerializes into like little, like specks, and then kind of goes into the tomb. Out of the tomb wakes up a very old man with a, energy in his middle of his heart, where essentially is the Neuron Star, and he explains that this is the actual Wizard King. He is a very feeble man where he is, but he has used the energy of the Neuron Star to make clones of himself and brand him around the world to help as many people as he could. Then after this, this one, freaking jingling keys, focus up. The Wizard King then explains to the team that as he gains more power, you can see he becomes a more buff man than he normally is, and he says that you all are going to need to fight me in a game of Nen Ball. I'm gonna, consider it to basketball. Basketball hoops come down from the ceiling, and you all need to fight the Wizard King in Nen Ball, as he states, in order to, prove your worthiness to get into the Heart Kingdom. So that's where we ended our session. Nen Ball has been announced. We all know that Nen Ball will be occurring. So, get excited. This is the end way. The Wizard King wants to prove your worthiness by having a fight with you in his own body himself. So that's what Neuron Star is. It's the Wizard King's heart, and that's how it's going to go. I could also say one more thing. So one last piece. Also at the end, Inu really wanted to talk to Allura. Again, Inu is having a lot of conversation on his own. And, if anyone wants to have conversations, please let me know. I don't particularly, I'm fine with someone using the time we have. But, if anyone else wants to use it, please go for it. But Inu has a conversation with Allura that one they said they were going to have late at night. And Inu walked up to Allura and essentially states that they want to find a way to kind of, control Cruel Wrench, and make sure they can't get the power from Gorebelly, the demon they're going to fight soon. And reluctantly, Allura gives him a band that he can place on any demonic power user to essentially rid them and stop any demonic power from flowing through their body as it goes on. So Allura very specifically stated the risks of Inu attempting to take the power for himself, or give it to Cruel Wrench but then put this band on them. Allura really states that the Hunter organization will be there very soon after Gorebelly is defeated to get the power, and they should just wait for the Hunter organization to get there. So we'll see what happens. That was a very interesting one that, Inu cooked up. But, we're going through a lot of sessions. A lot of stuff's happening in these sessions real quick. So hope you all had a fun time. It's a little bit shorter review, I hope. I'm not trying to make these as long as possible. But, so let me know if you have any questions, and I hope to see you next week.